You do not buy special, you build it, slowly, over years, through accumulation of attention that attention's daily practice makes invisible until its absence would be catastrophe. When Valentine's Day arrives, you do not scramble for a reservation or panic over perfect gift. You activate what already exists, the specific knowledge of each other that knowledge's depth makes possible, the private language that years of conversation have created, the rituals that rituals' repetition has transformed from performance into identity. By the end of this video, you will understand why your special is not purchased but remembered, why your celebration's power lies in its specificity to you, and how your generation's relationship to time and material has created capacity for meaning that meaning's commercial production cannot replicate. The transformation begins with refusal, not rejection of Valentine's Day itself, but rejection of its generic form, its assumption that special is standardized, that romance is universal, that love's demonstration can be purchased and performed identically by millions. You refuse this assumption not through explicit declaration, but through implicit practice, substituting what actually serves your specific connection for what culture assumes should serve connection generally. What you substitute is memory, not memory as nostalgia, but memory as material, shared experience accumulated through years of presence, available for activation, recombination, transformation into new experience that new experience's connection to past makes meaningful. The restaurant where you fought and reconciled, the song that played during difficulty survived, the joke that emerged from failure and became shorthand for resilience. These memories are not content for post, they are resources for creation, building blocks for experience that experience's specificity makes special precisely because it cannot be replicated. Consider what you build tonight. Perhaps it is meal that references meals before, ingredients that carry history, preparation that involves collaboration that collaboration's difficulty and resolution have made pleasurable. Perhaps it is absence of plan, that absence's confidence indicates security, the mutual recognition that you do not need structure to connect, that your company is sufficient without external enhancement. Perhaps it is explicit acknowledgement of what explicitness makes possible, naming of gratitude, recognition of persistence, articulation of choice that choice's daily practice makes unnecessary, but its explicit statement makes powerful. What makes this special, specifically Gen X, is its relationship to material and meaning. You came of age when material was becoming unstable, jobs disappearing, security dissolving, the future you were promised becoming unavailable, and you learned to build meaning from what persisted, relationship, choice, the capacity to continue despite everything that made continuation difficult. This learning created capacity for special that special's purchase cannot provide, the recognition that meaning is made, not bought, that value is determined by significance assigned, that love's celebration is powerful precisely when it is specific to lovers rather than generic to holiday. Your special is invisible to others because it is built from materials that others do not have, your specific history, your particular wounds, your mutual adjustment through difficulty that difficulty's survival has made bond. What you do tonight cannot be copied because it emerges from what cannot be transferred, years of presence, accumulation of attention, the slow building of what building's invisibility makes precious. The transformation you perform is not of day, but of relationship to day. You take what is generic, February 14th, commercial pressure, cultural script, and you make it specific through activation of what is yours alone. This activation requires no additional resource. It requires only recognition of what already exists, choice to activate it, willingness to experience what experience's specificity makes meaningful. What you avoid is the trap that traps visibility makes it no less trapping, the pursuit of special through purchase, the attempt to buy what can only be built, the substitution of expense for attention, of novelty for depth, of gesture for presence. You have learned, perhaps through failure, that this pursuit produces not satisfaction but its opposite, the sense that special is always elsewhere, that your offering is inadequate, that love requires resource that resources expenditure cannot provide. Your partner knows what others cannot see. They recognize in your activation of shared memory, your choice of specific ritual, your preference for their company over all alternatives, including alternatives that culture calls special, the love that love's conventional demonstration cannot capture. They do not need the generic because they have the specific. They do not need the purchased because they have the built. They do not need the visible because they have the real. Tonight, you will do what you do. Turn the generic into specific through activation of what is yours alone. Transform the commercial into meaningful through assignment of significance that significance's mutual recognition makes real. Build special from materials that others discard. Time, attention, memory, the specific knowledge of each other that knowledge's depth makes precious. What you build is not postable. It produces no evidence of successful celebration, no content for others' consumption, no proof that your Valentine's Day was special by standard that standard requires. It produces only what it produces: experience of being known, security of being chosen, recognition that your love is not generic but specific, not purchased but built, not performed but lived. This is how Gen X turns Valentine's Day into something special, not through addition of what culture sells, but through activation of what time has built, not through performance of what others expect, but through expression of what is specifically yours, not through pursuit of special that special's pursuit prevents, but through recognition that special already exists in what your persistence has created.